Thank you very much for staying on Business Live. Now, 2 Mexican companies operating in the area of agriculture and food processing have begun preparations to establish in Ghana as part of moves to expand their operations globally. The move follows Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chamanten's visit to Mexico in 2017 to attend Mexican Business Forum. In an exclusive interview with Joy Business, the Mexican ambassador to Ghana, Maria de Los Angeles, disclosed the ongoing Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference in Accra. There's more in this report.
Bilateral relations between Ghana and Mexico are set to deepen due to the stable economic environment and business opportunities presented by the two countries. According to the Mexican ambassador to Ghana, Maria de Los Angeles, the decision by the two agriculture and food processing companies is based on government's recent initiatives to drive investments and industrial growth for the Ghanaian economy, giving birth to the One District, One Factory initiative, among others. She was of the view that the presence of the two companies open up employment opportunities for many Ghanaian youth.
So thanks to his presence in the summit and of some of the Ghanaian entrepreneurs in this summit, we were able to have now 2 Mexican companies that have already started all the process to be present in Ghana. One is already in the production process in the agricultural field with very high technology with greenhouses, and they will start the production officially for the last 3 months of this year. And then we have another company that has also looked very well to Ghana, and they are in the food processing industry, but with very, very high technology. And that will allow Ghana also to go ahead with this interest of the government, that is to turn Ghana to be an industrialized country with higher technology in different sectors that are main for the economy of Ghana, as is the agro-food industry.
She also disclosed that the Export and Exim Bank of Mexico is ready to support Ghanaian entrepreneurs who want to partner in business in Mexico and vice versa.
Well, the Bancomex is our Exim Bank, and Bancomex, what they do is they give credit to companies, from Mexican companies that are planning to invest abroad, or to Mexican or to foreign companies that want to invest in Mexico. That is what they do. So for the case of Mexican companies that plan to invest in Ghana, also the Ghanaian companies will get indirectly benefit. Not because they will get directly the loan from the Mexican Exim Bank, because they will partner Mexican companies and will share the benefits of these investments.
The second edition of the Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference was organized by Rescue Shipping Agency in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
On the 25-year span research project to tackle black pod disease in cocoa farms is entering its 3rd phase. The project, Mabang Makayaka Selection Program MMSP, was initiated in 2005 to introduce an advanced breeding approach to develop improved planting materials in Ghana for high yields of good quality cocoa. It is expected to contribute to sustainable cocoa production to industry. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The project is expected to improve the output of Ghana's existing and planned cocoa seed gardens through the use of superior pollen parents. Senior scientist for the Mabang Megacarrier Selection Program at the Cocoa Research Institute, Enoch Kwame Nsia, says the move will guarantee the sustainable supply of cocoa beans to the international market.
Our major objective is to identify cocoa clones that are high yielding in the presence of Phytophthora megacarya, which is the causative organism for black pod disease. It is very aggressive and can cause 100% crop loss. So our aim, our target at the end of this program is to be able to come up with at least 5 promising cocoa clones that will give us so high yielding cocoa pods that the farmers will not have to worry about the incidence of black pod disease on their farms. The more the black pod incidence, the less the cocoa beans the farmer has to carry home as his pay packet. The previous budget, and even the current one, the proposed one for the 3rd phase, is about 5 million euros for the period of 5 years. Now, the partners are very much interested in the sustainable supply of cocoa beans in the international market so that they can always have raw materials to feed their chocolate industries. You know, the health benefits of cocoa is overwhelming, and no one wants to run out of cocoa. And so everybody is putting in resources to ensure that there is sustainable supply of cocoa beans in the world market.
He revealed this when members of the Ghana Agriculture and Rural Development Journalists Association, GAJA, visited the research institutes. The tour is to expose journalists to the research being done to enhance Ghana's declining cocoa production in recent times. With 13 more years to finish, the project has already crossed 50% of the target line. Mr. Insia believes they are on track to develop improved black pod resistant clonal varieties of seeds.
25-year-old program, and it is staggered into phases. The first phase of 4 years ran from 2006 to 2010. Then the second phase, there was a sort of gap whereby 2010 to 2013, Ghana Cocoa Board took care of all our operations, and then from 2013 to present, the partners came in again and supported us for the second phase. So we are now about to commence the third phase of the program. I must say there is no cause for alarm, and I'm very optimistic. Having crossed more than 50% of our target line, and with a very strong support team behind me, we are more than convinced that come the 25 years to be able to deliver very high yielding varieties to Ghana cocoa farmers for sustainable cocoa production.
Prince Apia reporting.
Let's now turn our attention to some developments in oil and gas. And the 2017 semi-annual report by the Public Interest Accountability Committee, PIAC, has revealed that 50% of all projects funded by oil money were non-existent. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Steve Mantiao, at a press conference, said the Auditor General's Department will have to open investigations into this development and take the necessary action where needed.
In 2016, following the initial inspection of projects in the 3 regions of the North, PIAC wrote to the Ministry of Finance for explanation on the non-existent projects. The letter was dated 4th August 2016. As we speak, the letter is yet to be acknowledged, let alone acted upon. We are therefore compelled to compile a list of these ghost projects and refer them to the Auditor General for further investigation. Should any wrongdoing be established, PIAC will ensure the trigger of the necessary prosecutorial processes to forestall their reoccurrence.
Meanwhile, PIAC has also observed that various ministers of finance over the years have not complied with recommendations on the status of implementation of oil-funded projects as required by the law. Dr. Steve Mantiao is therefore calling on the Finance Committee of Parliament to consider inviting members of the PIAC for more clarity and further questioning on the current revelations.
The committee has observed that the ministers of finance over the years not complied with the provision of updates on the status of implementation of oil-funded projects as required by Section 48(2)(b, which states that the minister shall actually submit a reconciliation report of the petroleum revenues, and the report shall describe the stage of completion of the programmed activities funded by and the expenditures incurred on the activities covered by the annual budget funding amount in the financial year of the report. PIAC is of the view that the thin spread of the ABFA funds over hundreds of projects across the length and breadth of the country has made compliance with this provision difficult. Recommendations. As a result of these findings and observations, the committee would like to prefer the following recommendations. 1. Payment to contractors for certified work done should be made promptly to forestall cost overruns and ensure value for money. This said, contracts for the execution of projects and any associated variation orders should be awarded only after it is certain that the funds needed to complete the projects will be available. 2, the selection of projects to be executed in the districts should be aligned with the Assembly's medium-term development plans, which incorporates the development needs of the communities. This will ensure the selection of priority projects. 3, relevant MMDAs, stakeholders, and beneficiary communities should be actively involved in the selection, award, execution, and monitoring of projects in their jurisdictions to promote inclusiveness and ownership. 4, project selection should be based on the sufficiency and availability of ABFA funds. Selected projects should be fully funded with petroleum revenue to completion to ensure easy tracking of funds and reporting.
And yet, in another development, Dr. Mantiao also assured PIAC will not be overwhelmed by the significant revenue inflows of oil money, the coming on stream of the Sankofa Jinyame oil and gas field in the western region. PIAC has persistently called for more resources in the past to be able to go around the country to carry out its monitoring activities effectively. It was assumed that with the addition of Ghana's new hydrocarbon development, the oversight body may find it more difficult to account for the huge inflows of resources, but Dr. Mantiao said PIAC is ready to perform.
Sankofa is not the only project. We even have other projects. Hess Petroleum is now at the development phase, and so by next year we also expect that they also come on stream. We don't distinguish between the petroleum revenues. Of course, when we are reporting, we'll report on project by project basis. But in terms of how the revenues are used, we do not monitor to say the Jubilee money was used for this and the 10 project money was used for that. We put all of them together and call them petroleum revenues, which accrue to the annual budget funding amount. And this is what we report to Ghanaians. So the same principle we adopt in reporting on revenues from Jubilee, 10 and the rest are what we are going to apply to Sankofa Jinyame. It will be part of the revenue streams flowing into the annual budget funding amount, the ABFA.
Let's still stay a little longer in the oil and gas industry. The British High Commission is collaborating with the Scotland Development International, SDI, to help 22 investors explore business opportunities in Ghana's oil and gas sector. They are also expected to take advantage of the technical and human resource opportunities that exist in Ghana's oil and gas value chain. A member of the delegation, Andrew Campbell, shared some of their objectives on the marketplace earlier.
What's attracted me to Ghana is their, without a doubt, the growth in oil and gas, but also their commitment to developing the workforce through the different local content policies they have. So it's my aim to try and enhance and increase the level of technical education available to young Ghanaians.
I'm interested, you mentioned local content, because that has been a thorny issue since the development of Ghana's oil and gas. I mean, we have so many locals interested to fit in or to position themselves within the industry, but even though we have a local content law, you find some of these international oil companies, still insisting that people do not have the requisite experience. So when you join the industry here, what are you going to do to embrace more locals?
Okay, well, the model that I would like to come into Ghana with is very much a partnership and collaboration, working with local institutions to develop their portfolio of programs relevant for the oil and gas industry and other industries. Okay. So that's what I would like to do here in Ghana. There is a big opportunity at technical training. Operators, I think the message is that they can't get the skilled technical qualifications here in Ghana. That for me is a very easy change, working collaboratively with Scottish institutions, particularly Forth Valley College, we would like to bring up the level of technical education available, broaden the scope and depth of technical vocational education available through Ghanaian institutions, and build the trust between operators, international operators coming into Ghana, and the institutions here in Ghana themselves.
Meanwhile, the Petroleum Commission is to collaborate with the National Insurance Commission to set up a task force to promote local content participation in oil and gas insurance. Deputy Chief Executive of Petroleum Commission, Prince Benjamin Abuaje, stated this at the opening of a 3-day energy insurance program organized by the Ghana Oil and Gas Insurance Pool, GOGCAPE, under the theme, Reliable Upstream and Offshore Energy Insurance. Bismarck Awusa has more.
The Ghana Oil and Gas Insurance Pool, GOGCAPE, is a consortium of insurance companies put together by the Ghana Insurance Association to pool their resources together to be able to underwrite oil and gas risks in the upstream sector. Individual local insurance companies have not been able to single-handedly underwrite risks in Ghana's petroleum sector since its inception. This is because of the enormous nature of such risks. As a result, the NIC came up with a GOGCAPE to help local insurance companies take part in the upstream sector insurance. In an address, Deputy Chief Executive of the Petroleum Commission, Prince Benjamin Abuaje, says the Commission would collaborate with the NIC to set up a task force to promote local content participation as well as preventing capital flight.
As regulators in the upstream sector, we are committed to promoting and enforcing the local content regulation. By this, we will support the pool by enforcing compliance of the protocol for oil and gas insurance placement. In collaboration with the NIC, we shall set up a joint task force that will enforce strict compliance with aspects of the Insurance Act 206, Act 724 and Local Content Regulation LI 2204 by the operators, contractors, subcontractors engaged in the petroleum activities.
Speaking to Joy Business in an interview, head of technical at GOGCAPE, Kwabna Labi, says the pool is leveraging latest improvements in the oil and gas sector to mop up not less than $50 million as premiums.
In the last few years, we've done our bit. We started with 1 FPSO, now we have 3 FPSOs. It's going to grow. We are looking at around $50 million in gross premium. We are looking at in the next few years, this can also grow. Bear in mind that the $50 million is not all the companies that are insuring. We have some of the companies who are still using global insurance companies. So when we get to the point where the compliance issue comes in, the Petroleum Commission and the National Insurance Commission set up this a joint task force that they intend to set up, and we bring all these. We are going to increase the premium that we are going to retain in the country, and there will be additional revenue coming in. There will be increased jobs, and it has direct benefit to the economy. So that is not understated at all.
Specialist in upstream and offshore energy insurance, David Sharp, says the industry needs to do more to underwrite big-ticket risks.
Every country, when it's developing its oil and gas, and therefore trying to develop an insurance industry, support it, goes through the same learning curve. It's the need to develop capacity. It's a need to retain more premium income in the country. And these are laudable needs. It will come with time. At first, it seems as though there's an awful lot of premium being exported to reinsurers in the worldwide markets. But that will change over time, and there will be a gradual transfer of the risk into Ghana, with more premium being retained into Ghana, and of course also transfer of the knowledge, and hopefully that's what I'm here to do, to share that knowledge and support the learning in Ghana.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yao Fori, used the opportunity to caution companies in the oil and gas sector against insuring their businesses outside the country. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
Moving away from oil and gas now, Ghanaian exporters and importers will soon be able to trade goods and services with their Indonesian partners and vice versa. This is because the Indonesian government has begun moves to sign a trade deal with Ghana to deepen bilateral relations. This was disclosed by the Indonesian Honorary Consulate in Ghana, Frederick Alipui, after addressing a fundraising ceremony for the development of a model market for Blekusu, a suburb of Keta in the Volta region.
Bilateral relations between Ghana and Indonesia have been improved over the past years due to the peaceful democratic environment enjoyed by the two nations. As part of plans to promote businesses among these two countries, the Indonesian government has extended an invitation to African businesses to attend the Indonesia-African Forum, a platform aimed at promoting trade between Indonesia and Africa. Indonesia Honorary Consulate of Ghana, Frederick Alipui, disclosed that both countries have begun discussions to enhance trade between them.
That Indonesia wants to negotiate a preferential trade agreement with the whole of West Africa. And not only that, they want also to have a bilateral trade preference with Ghana. So these two proposals are on the ground. In addition to that, as I said in my address, Indonesia has convened an Africa-Indonesia forum, which will take place from the 11th to the 12th of this April, in order to promote trade between Indonesia and Africa, and for that matter, Ghana.
He explained some areas both countries will benefit from.
We'll bring them here to look at the ecology here and see what technical assistance they can give to our people by way of technology transfer to boost the production of fish in the lagoon here, to boost the production of food crops for processing, okay, in order to package them. We will invite them on our terms. Okay, we will invite them on our terms. We show them the possibilities and say, this and this and this is what we want. Okay, like this salt being done here. It doesn't have to be taken away raw like that. It can be processed and packaged and shipped. Okay, so it is for us, and I've told the chairman that we have to set up a follow-up committee. Yes, I've told him, follow-up committee, so that we can monitor how much money has come in, how much is being spent on what, so that people will be encouraged to put more money in.
He made a 2,000 Ghana cedi pledge on behalf of the government of Indonesia in support of the development of the market.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has agreed to set up a committee to deal with calls by some local banks for extension of the recapitalization deadline and other challenges in the sector. These were some of the firm agreements reached at the meeting between some local banks and the president. George Rafi has more.
My understanding is that they have waited too long. I want to believe that before the central bank made that announcement, there would have been some kind of engagement with these banks, both foreign banks and local banks, before the announcement was made public. If they had issues, they should have expressed those concerns at that time. I am unsure whether they were not comfortable and they made this known to the central bank. But now,
It's still on Business Live. It's now time for our interview of the day. And some of the troubled banks in the country are said to have been hit by serious liquidity challenges. Sources say the development has come about as a result of persistent panic withdrawals by some of the big clients. George Rafi has been following up on this. He's joining me right here in the studio. But before we even go on to that, George, what came up of the engagement between the president and local banks?
So, yesterday, the initial communication was that the meeting ended inconclusively, but what we understand was that there were some firm decisions or agreement, let's say, reached at that meeting. Now, key among them was the setting up of a 10-member committee that would see the finance ministry nominate 3 members, the Bank of Ghana also nominating 3 members, and also the local banks themselves nominating 3 members. And then the president will have the final say in nominating the chair of that particular committee. And this committee is supposed to look into concerns coming from the local banks that they need to extend the deadline for meeting the minimum capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis by December 2018. So this is going to be the mandate. And also, it's not only that the capital issues that came up there are issues about dealing with the stock of non-performing loans. The situation where foreign banks are giving preference over local banks? Can we have a level playing field so that when it comes to government projects, when it comes to other things, the local banks should also be considered in doing all these things? So these are some of the issues that came up yesterday, and there was a firm agreement on that. The regulator, we also understand that try to communicate to these banks that if you are indeed having challenges in meeting the capital requirement, then merge.
Okay.
But it looks like in terms of reviewing that capital going forward, it might be difficult. And if you come in the 400 million capital requirement, you might move into becoming a savings and
now we don't
company.
have much time. Quickly brief us about the troubled bank situation.
So the Bank of Ghana last year indeed announced that there are some 9 banks that are supposed to be facing some financial crisis. UT Capital is gone. Unibank has been put under administration. So they are left with some few banks. The Bank of Ghana told us that some of the banks are coming out of the situation, but some of the banks, because of these reports that are going on, they've been serious withdrawals hitting them. And it looks like they're having difficulties in meeting their daily financial transactions. They had to rely on the Bank of Ghana for support. But it looks like it got into that stage where the liquidity challenge is getting worse.
Okay.
And the Bank of Ghana is left to making that call whether we should go in and manage that bank or still be supporting them with financial support.
Many thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Jaffe.
And on that note, we wrap up this evening's edition of Business Live. It's been a great time with you, and I hope you enjoyed every aspect of it. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good evening.